Hello. Welcome to part 3 of HorrorFest.
Hello.
Jumping straight into
Part 3 is part 4.
Part 4, isn't it?
Oh no.
It is part 4.
Don't you be dragging this out,
no.
Pearson.
No, this is part 3. We're doing 6 now. No. Welcome to part 4
Part 4.
of HorrorFest.
HorrorFest.
We also missed out on Lunn's thing of last year of going part 4 with the Freddy fingers.
Oh,
It's
man.
there. It's
It is.
It's there. Retired.
Wait until HorrorFest 4 where he's got to wear it every
Yeah. Welcome to
recording
HorrorFest
session.
4. And then at part 4, we've all got one and go, part 4.
Oh, let's start again. Right. Hello and welcome to part 4 of HorrorFest. This is where we watch 31 horror films for 31 days of Halloween, or October, should I say. And on this one, we are reviewing 6 horror films, not 7, to even it out on episode 5. So I'll quickly blitz through what films they are, and then we're just going to deep dive into it. And if you want to watch part 1, 2, and 3, apparently, which I must have blanked out.
It's been a long, busy month.
HorrorFest, yeah. Jesus. Okay, the films are Creepshow, Candyman, Freddy vs. Jason, Dead Silence, Cujo, and ending with The Children. Hello, gentlemen. How are we all? Jesus.
Good.
I'm not bad, mate. How are you, Pearson? Are you okay?
I'm trying to remember a recording we've apparently done.
We did one. So I think it's because we've done these two quite close together.
Yeah.
We did it
It's
2 years
all a
ago.
blur.
Yeah, it is.
We're getting through it right. Part 4, though. Fucking hell, we are smashing it this year.
Yeah, one more and then...
You guys don't even look like you're sick of it yet.
No.
I'm not.
No, I'm
It's
loving
not
it.
as much as a grind as it was last time, because I think we did so many in a week. Like we just fucked ourselves
Did
over,
we do-
and
I'm pretty sure last year was 3 in a week.
they were all over
Yeah.
3 hours each.
Yeah. The nice thing is we've been a bit more organized, and now next year we're going to be well in advance. So,
Yeah, we're doing this shit in March next year.
mate, I already have 21 films for next year. So, you better put some picks in. Shall we jump straight into it?
Yes. What was it?
Yeah.
First one, Creepshow?
No, yes. I had
Yes.
Candyman page up. I am losing it, apparently. You said, like, oh, not looking as burnt out by the end of this. I'm just going to be a mess.
I know, I've jinxed it now.
You have. Okay. Kicking it off with Creepshow, released in 1982. An anthology which tells 5 terrifying tales inspired by the EC horror comics of the 1950s. What do we all think of Creepshow?
I've got to confess to this one.
Go on.
So,
Not seen it.
I've not seen this one.
Oh,
Wait,
no. Creepshow of all of them,
Wait,
Matt.
wait,
Come
wait.
on.
It's
Because
Lunn. Hang on. Have you read about it?
I've read bits, yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm out on this one. So the other ones, I was like, right, I'm just going to blitz through these. I actually want to enjoy Creepshow because it's one of them I've put off for so long. I'm like, I might as well like properly enjoy it and take the time to actually like understand it rather than being like, well, we got to understand all these films. So I am going to listen to all your opinions. I'm still going to watch it anyway. So
Okay,
spoiler.
good.
That's my review of this film. But fire away, fellas, and I'll catch you up on film 2.
Well, this is a star-studded film, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I had no
is.
idea who was going to be in it. Like, I didn't look. I literally downloaded it because it was on our list.
Yeah.
Didn't know what it was going to look like. Didn't know who was going to be in it. And like some of the people that popped up, I was like, fucking Leslie Nielsen's in
Leslie
it.
Nielsen, yeah.
this is the best thing about Creepshow. Like even the TV series now, you just see random actors pop up in each one of these little short stories.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? Like,
I do love the like. So obviously the structure of it is 5 short stories, isn't it? Or like I say short, they're like 20, 25 minutes
Yeah.
each. I love that because I'm a big fan of like a short story, like what you can just kind of get into those like, you know, short stories. I don't know where the fuck am I going with this? Yeah, it's cool.
Based off so EC horror comics are most known for a comic called Tales of the Crypt. So yeah, you've got George A. Romero directing this. Stephen King wrote it. You've also got Stephen King in it, Leslie Nielsen, Ed Harris, Tom Atkins, Tom Savini.
Ted fucking Danson.
It goes on and on, doesn't it?
So
go on, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to start off with the beginning of it. So you get the little kid who's played by Stephen King's son,
Joe Hill.
Yeah. So he's reading the Creepshow comic, and then you get Tom Atkins who plays his father in it. He comes upstairs and he's like, "Oh, stop reading all that horror shit and go to bed." And this kid's pissed off. He gets his comic book took off him, and then the creep turns up at the window and gives it a little tap.
Such a cool mascot for this.
Yeah. And then that kicks off. Like basically the anthology, doesn't it? Like kicks off the stories.
So one thing I will say though, some of the stories are a hell of a lot better than the others because I don't remember what the first one was. I remember the second one, which was really good. Third one was my favorite, and I can't remember the last two. So out of the 5, I really liked 2.
Yeah.
Which kind of would kind of ruin my rating, but I'm going to give it higher than 2 out of 5. Spoilers there. But yeah, I did only like 2 out of 5 of the stories, but the 2 I liked, I really fucking liked.
But I think that's the nice thing about these being like short.
Yeah.
You know, some are tailored to some people, some
100%. I wasn't pissed off that I didn't like the other ones. It's like, those ones weren't for me, but I really liked these 2. So
and this format is similar to, like, I know some Stephen King books are just short stories in one, different seasons and stuff like that.
So that's saying that. So the Cray and what was the other one now? Wrote it down. There was another one that is based on basically short stories that Stephen King wrote prior to Creepshow.
Right.
That came out in the 70s. So I think it was the Cray, and I think it's the one where the one with the meteorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because he actually the star of that, isn't it? The lonely death of his character's name. Yeah.
Pretty sure it is that one. Oh, so yeah, it is. It's them. Yeah, it's them 2. So them 2 were written in the late 70s as short stories and put into magazines, and then obviously Stephen King brought them over,
took them back, and
Creepshow. Yeah,
I should mention, like, to anyone listening or watching that hasn't seen Creepshow, you've got different actors in each of the stories, and they've sort of transitioned with this like amazing comic book style with our mascot throughout it, the Creep, guiding us through. And it's like, the one thing I love in the transitions is the page turns and you see like an advertisement for like a radioactive man, and send off this coupon. I just thought it was cool stuff like that.
I love that.
It kind of makes it
don't go into this expecting like real life scenarios and stuff. This is like what it is on the tin.
Isn't it?
Fun short stories straight out of a comic book, stuff that obviously would never happen in real life, but they're just cool things to like sort of watch and that. Do you know what I mean? Some of them are taken out of fucking proportion, but it's like it's just cool to see it because it's just fun.
And like the practical effects are like so cool. Like all the sets were like kind of real, I suppose. Like, so I'm gonna skip over this first story because I don't remember it. But if you guys want to talk about it in a sec, but the first one I really liked was the one that stars Stephen King. So he's like a man, a meteor lands in his garden or something, and he like touches it, and then he notices his finger goes a bit funky. It starts looking a bit mossy, and then everything starts to turn all grassy. His house, like his whole house and area gets taken over, and he's just this like fucking grassy swamp monster type thing. It's so simple, like such a simple story of just like one entity taking over your entire body and fucking area of being. And it just looked so cool. Like you could picture yourself being in the set and like just surrounded by fucking grass and moss and just what the fuck is going on.
It's the simplicity of the story.
Yeah,
at the end,
so simple.
Gradually on its way to the near town. Yeah. I fucking love that one.
Yeah. Let's not spoil the ending to the short stories.
Oh yeah, shit.
Oh yeah, my bad.
And then but then the Leslie Nielsen one I really liked because
that's my favorite one.
That felt more thriller than horror until the end, Like throughout, I was like, oh, cool. They are doing like a bit of a thriller type horror one where like the fear is of like, cause he's kind of like a bit of a serial killer type kid.
Basically a serial killer.
Yeah. So I was like, this is cool. And then it does take a Creepshow twist at the end, and I was like, I fucking loved it. Even though like we know I'm not too much into the wacky kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
hang on, you loved Night of the Demons on last.
I know,
episode.
but then I hated Evil Dead on the first, so I can't keep up whether I like wacky or not. But that scene where I won't spoil it, but the it was so cool.
Yeah,
I was like, what is going on? This is ridiculous, and I love it.
So that plays on like claustrophobia, doesn't it? Like that's like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? People with claustrophobia watching that'll be like feel sick because it's basically people getting buried in sand up to their heads.
By the sea.
By the sea.
And it's basically like Leslie Nielsen's pretty much making snuff films for himself.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I've seen the screenshot of this bit. Is the one of the guys that's buried? I've not looked into this. Is it Chevy Chase?
No. Ted Danson.
It probably looks like him a little bit.
Proper looks like Chevy Chase.
Yeah. It does a bit, but yeah, it's Ted Danson.
Yeah, so that's my favorite one as well on this.
My favorite also.
Yeah,
that was the
and then, like I said, I didn't really remember the last two. I did watch it in my van, as I said on the last one. I was on a tour, watched so many films in my van when I could, so I was watching them on like a laptop screen. But with that one, it's quite nice. It was like I was with Paul, who you've previously had on the show, Paul from Deaf Blooms, and we were both like, "Oh, should we just take a bit of a break from the take a little break from the show?" Like, because I think they went on for a few hours. We had done our sound check and all that lot. And like, let's just go chill in the van. So we put the laptop in the middle, both put our feet up. It was all dark watching this. It was like a very mini cinema type thing. But it was a cool way to watch it. Like watching an old thing on quite a small TV, but still being able to take it all in.
Yeah.
Cool. So you start off with Father's Day on this one, which was a cool episode.
I think it kind of throws you in the deep end, doesn't it, on Father's Day? Because you're trying to, I think it's a hard one to keep up with because you're like, wait, you're just getting used to the format.
Yeah.
You're like, what's going on here? And then you kind of piece it together. And the payoff is that ending that I'm not going to tell you. Catering for Lunn here, not you listeners. But yeah, that ending to that one is kind of, I see the GIF being used everywhere.
Yeah.
For like horror fans and stuff. That was a nice one. I enjoyed that. I didn't hate it. I think I enjoyed it more on my second watch.
I think all of these stories have the shock endings, don't they? The like shock horror endings. You're like, oh shit, they all end on something like.
Was like like the buried up the neck ones.
Yeah.
Takes a fucking completely different turn.
Yeah.
And
you just don't even expect it, do you?
Yeah, no, not at all.
So one of the most famous episodes, I'm just going to say episodes of this sort of anthology is the crate. So this is the little monster in the crate. That is a very iconic image. Savini is an absolute fucking genius. Made this creature from scratch. Obviously, he did the rest of the makeup for the film as well. And actually,
he's in the film as well.
Yeah, he's in the film. He's the
garbage guy at the end.
Old garbage guy. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he picks up the comic, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The crate was a fun one. I thought. I think, obviously not my favorite. There's something to tide you over, which is the Leslie Nielsen snuff film we've just been talking about. That's my favorite. But the crate was very close because. I don't know. It took twists and turns I wasn't thinking about.
It did because
like the story wasn't as simple, but it kept me in it.
It's basically to sort of like say it simple. It's basically this crate that they find in the school, which is underneath the stairs, and it's been brought over from somewhere abroad. I can't remember where it says on it, and some like tropical country. Somewhere like that, and they find this crate. They open it up, only to realise there's this monster in there. And they don't know what the fuck this sort of like what it is. It's basically like a fucking ape on like steroids.
It kind of reminds me of a werewolf kind of thing.
Yeah, and
it's a great little
rampage. Yeah, goes on a rampage. Anyone who goes near his crate, he fucks them basically.
Whoa.
What?
You want to check your phrasing there? He doesn't literally fuck them, listeners and watchers. He kills them
up.
You know, yeah, fucks them
Fucks
up.
them up.
I think is what Matty was trying to say.
Fucks them.
Can you imagine he just grabs them, fucks them, pushes them away afterwards.
I'm gonna fuck you.
I'm gonna fuck you.
That's how the HorrorFest changes. We don't look like absolutely tired from it. We're just phrasing things in the worst possible way.
Yeah, it did come out wrong. That
Fucks them.
Fucks them. Basically, you know what? I've actually found a good explanation for this creature. It's basically like the Tasmanian devil, but horror.
That
yeah,
is
it kind of is. Yeah.
I like that.
I did just, like I said, as much as I didn't quite remember the other stories, a little Google of the picture, and I was like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I was just tired when it got near the end.
Like you unlocked a memory there. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I remember that one. But I preferred the other two.
I completely get why, because the last one is they are creeping up on you, which is kind of, you know, a head of a company, rich guy in a penthouse who has a bug infestation, and he's a bit of a clean freak and doesn't like it. This was probably my least favorite one.
Yeah.
Unless I've done a terrible job of explaining that and missed something obvious. It just, nothing was scaring me. I think if bugs scare you, then, and you don't watch I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, this might be the short story for you. Yeah. So, anything else we want to add before I give you a fun fact?
Oh, let's go ahead with the fun facts.
Cool. So, as we know, we've just said Stephen King's son, Joe Hill, is in this. So when they were filming, Stephen King asked Tom Atkinson, please don't slap my son too hard and hurt him. And he's like, of course, I'm not going to hurt him. I'm so happy to meet you and stuff like that. I just thought that was a funny moment. Like, he's a professional actor. Tom Atkins, America's dad. And Stephen King, an amazing author, is like, please don't hit my son too hard. We should mention as well, so after those short stories, we come back to Tom Atkins and Joe Hill, don't we? And the comic in the garbage can. And we see Tom Savini pick it up, and it goes from there. Creepshow has had sequels as well. Have you watched any of them, anyone?
Yeah, so Creepshow 2 is really good. There's some very good shots on that one.
Maybe
one in
that's,
particular is the Indian one, but we'll go into that on a different.
Maybe that's next year.
Pretty good.
I've recently deep dove into Shudder's. Picked it up as a series, and I sort of got into season 1. Didn't like it that much, but season 2 onwards, I
think I'm going to try season 2 because I wasn't into season 1.
Yeah,
you did say season 2 was good.
Yeah, if you're a horror fan, you'll fucking love the Creepshow TV series. Some episodes are hit and miss, and some of the short, because you basically got 2 short stories in each episode.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get one good one, and sometimes the other one's not as good in it. But they hit or miss. But you'll definitely find some that you'll fucking love in there. Like there was one on season 2 that did references to The Evil Dead, which I remember telling you guys about. Yeah. And it has Ted Raimi in there, and they do the whole Necronomicon thing, and it's just fucking cool.
Fact, I watched that one recently. That's just brilliant. Yeah,
it's sick. So
if you can't check out Creepshow. I think it's on Prime actually.
Is it Shudder? So like Shudder sometimes links through Prime.
On Prime,
But so what's the ratings for the film then?
So
it's even though it's episodes, it's still officially a film, isn't it?
Yeah. I gave this a 3 out of 5 because there's some I really like, but I'm not putting it to the high 4s and 5s because I'm not like, oh, it's creeping up to be a favorite. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. 3 out of 5 because, like I said earlier, I only liked 2 out of the 5 stories, but because I did really like them, obviously give them a bit of extra credit.
Yeah, it's almost like the style bumps it up.
The fact that I like those 2 enough that I'd still watch the whole thing again. Just to kind of take it all in properly, but to enjoy those 2 sections, and then hopefully maybe appreciate the others a bit more, like watching them again. But solid 3 out of 5. It was cool.
Matty?
Mine's going to be a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Just because I love it as an idea of the anthology series. You've got the fucking workforce of a team which is like George A. Romero. You know what I mean? You got
It's
Stephen
incredible,
King,
isn't it?
you got Tom Savini, and then you've also, like you said, got the nation's favorite fucking Tom Atkins in there.
Oh.
Like, who doesn't love seeing Tom Atkins in a film?
He makes films.
He makes
It's
films,
amazing.
literally. Yeah. So
Halloween 3, best film ever released. Go watch it.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, like, what other excuse do you have to watch it? It's just fucking sick. If you love horror films, it's got bits, and even if you don't like all of them, like obviously Ryan doesn't and Matt doesn't, and I didn't like the last one in particular, it's got ones in there that you'll fucking love enough to make you want to come back to it. And the sequels are brilliant, and the series is fucking brilliant. So go watch.
Definitely going to watch the sequels.
It's perfect for
me
Halloween. Too. So it's a perfect Halloween film.
Yeah,
it tailors to a horror fan. There's something in it for everyone.
Yeah.
And if you've not got time to watch it all, pause it.
That's what I did.
One,
yeah,
and come back to it, finish it off. You know what I mean? So
I watched 3 and then the last 2 together. So
before we move on to film 2, Lunn, what do you think of what we've said? You gonna watch it even more, or?
Yeah, I'll watch it even more.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I don't know how you can watch something even more. I don't know what
I'll watch even more. Watch it twice. I already had information about it from like in the In Search of Darkness documentary, so I did have like a loose grasp on what the film entailed. So I've always been intrigued by it. I just wanted to give it a bit more attention, rushing through it. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking it out as soon as possible.
Nice. Okay, should we jump to film 2?
Yes.
Number 2, Candyman. The original, released in 1992. The Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, is accidentally summoned to reality by skeptic grad student researching the monster's myth. Obviously, famously, Tony Todd playing Candyman in this.
Candyman.
Be my victim.
Candyman.
Don't say
Candyman.
it. Don't fuck with that, Matty.
Just appears as another Zoom like box on here.
You open it. Oh, you've got to do
It's
that
just
now.
Tony
Don't
Todd.
do it. Don't do it.
Why are you calling me?
Yeah. What do we all think of this one?
Considering it's like a bit of a classic, I wasn't overly impressed with it. I just found the plot wasn't. The first I've only seen it once, like a year ago. Didn't have time to do a rewatch.
Yeah.
But I remember just like not fully kind of getting it at first. Like it didn't seem quite as straightforward as like your Halloweens and your Elm Streets and things like that. And I thought it would be like on the same level of those kind of slashers, which kind of is a good thing in a way. I feel like there's probably a lot more to it, and maybe I just wasn't quite as zoned in as I should have been. There were some cool moments in it, but I just remember coming out thinking, I've always heard such good things about that, but I wasn't mega impressed. Saying that, I really do want to rewatch it again because I know we're not talking about the new one, but I did really enjoy the new one, and yeah, it's made me want to go back and kind of understand the first one, and just see see how they compare really. Although not really a spoiler, the new one's not really a remake either. It's not really. It's not really a remake. It's not really a sequel. I'd literally call it a reboot where it's still canon to the original.
Okay. Some people, it's sort of like a sequel that people call it, but then it's not really a reboot at the same time.
Yeah, like you don't need
Evil Dead remake essentially.
No, because I mean, The Evil Dead was a remake, but with this one, like I noticed in the first sort of 20 minutes, you see like a newspaper article with a photo of the girl from the past, and they're like, "This happened 30 years ago" or something. But it's still not a sequel. Like you don't need to have known that because it all works as its own thing. It all starts up as its own thing. It's hard to say without spoiling it, but it was weird. It's kind of a reboot. It works on its own, but it still makes nod to the old one. So it's not. I would not call it a remake. But yeah, I enjoyed that. It's made me want to go back on the other one and just see maybe what I was missing the first time around.
I do completely get what you're saying, where you feel kind of like, because I watched it very late, and I think the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, not what I was expecting from, I don't know, there's nothing against the story or anything. I think, like you say, you see Candyman up with the slasher icons. We see like Ghostface, Leatherface, name others, Matthew, Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and all them. Jason exists.
Hellraiser. Or Pinhead, I suppose, not Hellraiser.
Well, speaking of Hellraiser, this is written by the same writer, Clive Barker, which I didn't know until, doing a bit of research. But
it's also the same composer for the film for what was on Elm Street, Charles Bernstein.
It is, yeah.
I'm going to say the soundtrack to this film is fucking great. Like, that's a highlight for this film as well.
So I was super late coming into this film. So I know you guys said it's not what I expected, but I enjoyed that aspect of it. I was expecting all the way through for it just to be Candyman pops up, another person dead,
Flash,
voila, and bish bash bosh, and that's it essentially. And I was so pleasantly surprised when you get about an hour in.
Hang on,
and Candyman only officially pops up then.
Yeah, they let it play out, don't they? When you said it's Charles Bernstein doing the music, that is for Cujo. We're mixing up our notes here. It's Philip Glass that does the soundtrack for this.
This soundtrack either way is fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
so, I did.
This just shows the chaos of trying to watch 31 films in a month and make notes on them all.
I automatically said yes because I was like, yeah, I've got Charles Bernstein in my notes, and then I was like, wait for Candyman, and that's why
I've literally got your capsules on my phone here, Charles Bernstein. Sorry, Charles Bernstein.
Easily done. Sorry, Philip Glass, but yeah, it is an amazing soundtrack, and I think this plays on, I don't know, kind of the thing you did as a kid, where it's like, don't say this 3 times in the mirror. And, it's such a simple thing. And I will say the first time I watched this, it did actually scare me. I was like feeling anticipation. Scare me.
If that's not a future merch, I don't know what is.
That's a great idea. Scare me. It did frighten me. I think when I was watching it, I kind of wanted like a new favorite film, because I'm sick of saying like, oh, The Shining's my favorite film. Everyone says that. So I was like, oh, yes, the Candyman, an iconic look. It's amazing. And I think there's like a lot more in the story to unpack and, look at what it's discussing, like the topics. Maybe this isn't the podcast to do that. But it did frighten me. And just the bee scene alone. And like the graffiti of like crawling out of the mouth with the hole in the wall.
Yes.
It's so cool.
So that was one of the standout scenes for me where that bit where you could literally just see her and it's like in what is meant to be Candyman's mouth.
Yeah.
That just looks so good.
The look of the film is great as well.
Yeah.
Like
for something that was like it's a 90s film but pre-Scream, I think it really stands out on its own.
So go on.
I was just going to say maybe that is why you don't hear Candyman spoken as much, spoken about as much as these other films, is because it's in that in between where horror and slasher films really took a dive, and then Scream was the revival for that. Maybe this slips under that radar.
So like, is to say in the new one they go into a lot of like the police brutality on black people.
Yeah,
and I can't remember if there was much of that in the first one because I don't remember a lot of it as well.
And
that's kind of what's made me want to go back to it.
Yeah, you've got like when we talk about the origin of who is the Candyman, how did he become to be? It's talking about a slave owner, and the Candyman was a slave and fell in love with the daughter of this slave owner. Yeah. And so it's drawing on parallels there, isn't it? Of
it basically racial issues at the time.
Yeah,
like what was
it all takes place in like this stack of apartments that are a bit run down and stuff. And like you've just said, there's not much policing in the area, and this grad student, because that's how it all starts off, isn't it? Isn't someone murdered in the apartments?
Yeah, in Cabrini Green estate.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
There you go. And then it's like a crime-ridden place, and the police just like deal with it and leave immediately. And then that's why this grad student investigates it more.
Yeah.
So there's loads of parallels, and I'm clearly not smart enough to like go in depth on these. I actually thinking about it, it'd be such a cool Silver Screen Unseen episode.
It would.
We could look into that.
So it's got an underlying love story to it as well, if you think about it. So he takes on he sort of like focuses more on the is it Helen?
Yeah.
Name's Helen, yeah. And he
Yeah,
sort of like falls in love with her as well, because she sort of obviously represents the woman that he was already in love with, obviously before he was murdered.
The similar, aren't they, in
Yeah.
looks and stuff.
So yeah, it's kind of like an underlying love story to it as well. It's not your typical horror.
Well, this has made me really want to go back and rewatch it, and I wish I had the time to rewatch it this week.
And then
as you're about to go away, we're like, "Ooh, got you excited about a horror movie."
Yeah.
And it comes full circle, because at the end she appears, doesn't she? So
yeah, she does, doesn't she? I forgot about that.
Can we
have to save
Can we talk about the opening monologue and how sick that is? Where it's just the bellowing, like echoey voice, and just them bees, and he's saying what he's gonna do to come back, and like Corum was like, "Yo, this is so good."
It's so good.
So I've seen references to this, and people are saying it reminds them of, sort of like Hellraiser. When you get his sort of when he does his monologues, and it's very like echoing, very like theatrical, like when you see it. And I fucking love it. Yeah, it works.
Well, now that we know it's written by Clive Barker, that makes sense. Apparently, this is based on a book by Bernard Rose as well.
Forbidden, isn't it? Is it called Forbidden?
I'm not sure. It might be called Forbidden, guys.
It might be.
However, I'll give you a fun fact. The bees used in the film were specifically bred for this movie. They needed to make sure that the bees were 12 hours old, so they looked mature enough, but the sting wouldn't actually do any real damage to people.
I wonder how many people got stung.
Well,
yeah,
that would be a fun fact.
The woman who played Helen was allergic to bees, apparently.
Really?
She was allergic to bees. So they had a paramedic on set waiting just in case anything happened. But thankfully, she didn't get stung. And Tony Todd, apparently the effects guys, made like something in his mouth to put in there, like a mouthpiece. So when he put the bees in there, they couldn't. They were sort of restricted on where they could walk around. But apparently, he said in an interview once that one of the bees came around the back of the mouthpiece, and they could feel it like moving around inside of his cheek.
Oh my god!
But dude, like, fair fucking play to him. The fact that he went and put a full load of fucking bees in his mouth for the film. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he fucking works, mate. And you don't even see him flinching on it. He just fucking goes for it, like he's not even bothering him.
It sounds like a proper intense like filming session, because there's a fun fact with it as well, where the person that plays Helen, like the bits where like she's kind of like in a trance, that's actually because she was in a trance. They actually hypnotized her for like them scenes.
What?
So they hypnotized her so she'd like have a certain look to her. And then it got to the end of it where she'd done it like countless times, because they had like a key word that they'd say to her to put her in this trance for the entire filming. And it got to like the last few shots where she needed to, and she was like, I can't do it anymore, because it was like making her proper dizzy after she'd come out of it, and she had no grasp of anything.
This goes back to like when we were talking about The Exorcist and these unorthodox methods.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch like
actor.
I want to watch, what's that series? The like one on Shudder, like the
Cursed Films.
Oh, Cursed Films.
Yeah, I want to go in. I want to on like a Candyman episode. That'd be cool.
Well, a really good one, another Shudder documentary for any listeners of Ryan, is a horror noir all about black culture throughout.
So does that cover Candyman?
Yeah, Tony Todd's in it extensively.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. I think I need to watch this film again, so I've kind of got to.
Yeah, I definitely do.
I'll just kick off considering I brought up ratings. Yeah. My original rating, I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I remember watching it and really being like, I was constantly thinking about it. Now I think I'd reasonably drop it to 3.5, but I'm not going to do that until I watch it again. So 4 out of 5.
I'm going to do, like I said, I remember not loving it, but I liked it. Obviously didn't dislike it, and I do really want to watch it again. So I'm going to give it a 3. But I think that would probably improve when I check out again. And like I said, just shout out for the new one because I did quite like that as well.
Something I'm meaning to watch.
Yeah, it's online now. Like online.
Yes, I will buy it.
So I'm going to give it a 3 as well, and I'm going to say the same as Ryan. I've not given it a rewatch in a long time. I've not seen the new Candyman either, so maybe I'll get a bit more hyped up, and that score will like throw up a bit more. Yeah, it may change. But Tony Todd's acting in this film is is brilliant, and everything that he put into the role makes the movie. It could stand as like a thriller and a horror at the same time.
Yeah,
100%.
Think about it. So it can remind. It's got like 7 vibes to it.
Yes, I got that.
Yeah, proper 7 vibes to it, and I love the film 7 as well. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 because it's not like one of my favorite movies. And again, I've got to sort of gauge the scale as well on what I'm giving 4s and what I'm giving 5s and shit. So yeah, it's a 3.
Nice.
Lunn?
Cool. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Purely because I think in comparison to what I've rated other things, but I don't want to go over the same things I've already said. But I'm going to say that the standout scene for me is the car park scene. Just the when he just says like Helen to her, and she's like shit.
Shit. Nice. I like it. Right. On to number 3. We all ready?
Yeah.
Do it.
All good? Yeah? Okay. Third film, Freddy vs. Jason, released in 2003. Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees return to terrorize the teenagers of Elm Street, only this time they are out to get each other.
Ooh.
So this actually carries on from Jason Goes to Head the Final Friday and
Freddy's dead.
Freddy's dead. So if you watch Jason Goes to Hell Final Friday, if you see the end scene where Jason's mask gets pulled under the soil from Freddy's glove into hell, that's sort of a precursor and a little like teaser for what's ahead.
What's to come.
Yeah, and apparently it's a prequel to Jason X as well.
I've never seen Jason X, and I really need to. Jason in space.
Well, not a prequel, but it's based before Jason.
Yeah,
X,
yeah.
You know what I mean, in the timeline.
I'm just gonna get out there. How the hell can anyone not like Freddy vs. Jason? This is so fun. But saying that, right? So I rewatched it yesterday, and then my sister was giving me a lift, and she was like, I was like, yeah, I watched Freddy vs. Jason today. She's like, what's it about? How do they end up like together? I was like, well, so Freddy's in hell.
They end up together like it's a romance.
Yeah. Oh, was it not? I was like, yeah. So like, Freddy's in hell. All the kids have forgotten about him, and then he finds a way to be remembered by getting kind of Jason to do it, and then stuff happens and they end up fighting. I was like, I couldn't quite else describe the plot other than that. I was like, but it's fucking cool. I was like, you've got Jason and Freddy fighting over a fucking metal, like heavy metal soundtrack. Like, this is badass. This is so cool. I love
so
it.
it basically, like, because they're both in hell, like Freddy sort of like gets Jason goes back to Earth again, and Freddy, he comes back to Earth to fucking kill everyone again, and then Freddy sort of like becomes like the reincarnation of Jason's mother, and basically telling him that he's got to go kill again. But the main reason behind this is because Freddy wants the whole of Springwood to be scared again, thinking that Freddy's back, which will bring the fear back, which will then obviously end the remembering him, which then brings Freddy back to life. So,
yeah, because he's not strong enough yet. So what I do like, and probably one of the few positive things I'll say about this film, is he manipulates Freddy by using his powers of like taking the form of Jason's mum and being like,
yeah,
do it for mommy, Jason, shit like that was really cool to see, and see him like use it to his advantage. It's perfect for Freddy's character.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because he pretends he kind of mimics being the drowned boy, I think, or something, like obviously the drowned version of Jason, is it as well? Or I don't know, he kind of, like I said, it was a bit of a mess. Even though I watched it just yesterday, I kind of still, there's like plot points that I'm like, wait, hang on, they're doing that, and then what? And now they're doing this. but I just didn't care.
They did pack a lot into this movie, and they tried to pack too much in it, which I think obviously put a lot of people off, and they were trying to tick too many boxes with it as well at the same time. But then again, like for me, it was a fun movie to watch, and it was cool to see two big horror icons in the same movie as well.
Yeah,
it's fun to see, isn't it? And it was we had Alien versus Predator as well. Those the two around the same time, weren't they? I do know this film began like they were thinking of doing Hellraiser versus Michael Myers at one point.
Yeah.
Things like that. Thankfully, they never happened.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted that.
Yeah, well, apparently after this, they was going to do Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yeah, really? I think you told us this before.
But it became a comic as well. Yeah.
I want more crossovers. Like, I don't think it would work anymore with the kind of new way the Halloween series has gone. In fact, I don't really know what other ones you could do.
Who would you cross over with Michael Myers? I know it's going a bit off topic, but who would you cross over with?
I think Ghostface would be pretty fun.
But no, you can't
fucking have him because it's just like
you can't do that because obviously Ghostface is so aware of all the other killers. That's what
the Collector, he rigs the house that Michael's walking in.
Or I suppose Jigsaw would be a bigger one for that.
Saying that,
Jigsaw versus Michael Myers or Jigsaw versus Jason.
Michael wakes up, is like, "Hello, Michael, I want to play a game." So this is why I don't like this film. Is it's not clear of like.
It's not.
It's not clear in story. We've got that weird CGI monster. I'm skipping ahead a little, but
fuck it, carry on, mate.
Basically, what is the drug that Nancy advocates for in Dream Warriors, and it helps them sleep and forget? I should have written this down in the notes. Basically, our main protagonist's father has got all these people drugged out of their mind in this lab with weird masks on, and we see some like really amazing horror visuals of them all like sat up looking at him. Basically, they need this drug and they're going to put it in Jason. You got that weird little CGI worm. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Hypnosil, that's it. Yeah, there's just some stuff that takes me out of it. And then there's no clear winner, Freddy versus Jason. I'm sorry that this is a point.
I think there is.
Is there?
Yeah, you see Jason walking away carrying Freddy's head.
And then he winks.
That's the last shot. Yeah, but...
Do you know why? Because they were going to make a Freddy versus Jason 2.
Versus Ash.
Which is super annoying. I don't think there's a clear winner, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's interpretation, isn't it?
I left it as though Jason had kind of won, but it's Freddy, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
So you've got Freddy being he's very gimmicky self on here as well. So
that's what I liked as well. Freddy was very Freddy.
So the highlight for me was the whole got your nose, and he's got the two things in his nose that nose pops off. Yeah, and the whole when he's taunting Jason as well when they're having the fucking face off, like you got to love like Freddy when he's in that mood, don't you?
Yeah,
I loved
the Freddy bit. The best Freddy bit is where Kelly Rowland's taking the piss out of him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And he goes like, points his glove to that Jason.
She's going like Jason.
Shit, yeah.
She's like, Jason's got this huge machete. What have you got? These little butter knives on your fingers? And then he just goes, and then she turns around, and then Jason just fucking chops her.
Gets fucking power slammed into a tree.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's dumb, but it's fun.
Soundtrack is amazing.
Soundtrack's sick. Kill switch engaging the end credits.
Cool, yeah.
The police station scene is amazing as well.
And the cornfield scene as well, when Jason is on a rampage.
I would just talking about that police station again, like where you see all the like missing children slowly looking at the woman walking past. That's fucking cool. And then you've got like a bunch of horror movie references, like our character's called Laurie Campbell.
Yeah. Laurie Strode, Sidney Campbell. Oh wait, Sidney. Oh wait, no, I got confused. I got confused because of Scary Movie. She's called Cindy Campbell because of Sydney.
Oh, really?
Nev Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So I was about to go off topic. Then I'm not going to do that. Carry on.
I got confused as fuck for a second, and I was like,
yeah, no, right. Scary Movie. They mix up all the names, but then
Yeah.
because I've seen it so many times, I then got the name mixed up, and yeah, it's all referencing the same thing in the end.
yeah.
I did have a note, some Scream reference, Dead Mother. I'm pretty sure that's not a Scream reference. It's just a Dead Mother. Ignore me on that one. But the thing that took me out of it is we see Kelly Rowland give Jason mouth to mouth in the back of a van.
Yeah.
I was like, nope. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to check out, please.
And I love the guy's reason of not being able to do it. He's like, I've got asthma. And this film does have the best stoner in it. The guy playing Jason Mewes, but not Jason Mewes.
Oh,
What?
yeah. Do you know what? I didn't even realize that.
You know who I'm
Just
talking
sort of
about.
Jason music character, yeah. You've watched Jay and Silent Bob, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen him live.
Well, there you go, Jason Mewes.
Yeah,
What the
the
hell?
typical stoner.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you. Oh my god, I never knew that. It was like supposed to be like a Jason Mewes, like a, you know.
I mean, I don't think it is, but
Okay,
so
I mean,
obvious,
it is.
isn't it?
The style is very much
Yeah.
the same.
It essentially is.
He's playing the stoner character.
Yeah, fair.
I'll send you a photo to put up here, Matty. I'll attempt.
Yeah, we'll put it
Yeah,
side by
that's
side.
it.
Up on
Yeah.
there. We
Yeah,
can see.
But yeah, anything else on that one? Like, I like it. It's fun. It's goofy as fuck, but I do like it.
So after all that, at the end, you don't know who fucking wins because he walks out of the water. And shall we spoil it?
Yeah, I've said it. Freddy
I think we
Winks.
already
We've
have.
already said
Yeah,
this.
Freddy fucking winks. Yeah, and it's like, well, after all that, we don't know who fucking wins then. So we always.
I mean, I still think Jason's got the upper hand at least, but Freddy's got the ability to come back if you know.
Well,
could
The
be
way
asked.
I interpret that is Freddy can fuck with your reality, can't he? So
Yeah.
it might not actually be carrying Freddy's head. It could be his mum's head and, stuff like that.
All right,
because-
there's no winner.
Yeah, because that's like setting it up for the sequel with Ash
never
or
happened.
number 2. That never happened, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you my fun fact now. This is the last film where Robert Englund takes the role of Freddy Krueger. And I think it shows.
I hope
that
he
no
does
one
it again
else-
one day.
I'd love for him
I
to.
don't think it will. No.
I reckon he's got one more left in his.
I want one more.
We've got Scream 5 coming out. We have a Child's Play TV series. Halloween's in the midst of an amazing trilogy, Touchwood.
Exorcist.
It's the Exorcist remake. We need Krueger back. Let's bring all the
Well,
slasher
the Wes
icons
Craven
back.
Estate's
We've had
taking pictures
Candyman.
now, aren't they?
Pardon?
The Wes Craven Estate's taking pictures now to do with something to do with Elm Street.
Fingers crossed.
This is
Nice.
where the diehard fans should come into play, and they should actually like listen to submissions from
Yeah.
them because they know what we want.
Yeah.
But ratings, I'm giving this one 3.5 out of 5. It's better. It's better than a bit good for me. I think it's just really fun.
Better than a bit good.
I
I like that.
better than a bit good. Yeah, 3.5. I wish I could have. I wish I was there when this kind of came out in the cinema stuff. Although actually saying that, I reckon there might have been a lot of hype and a lot of disappointment. And because I'm just watching it years later, hearing that it was so shit, and I'm like, it wasn't that bad. Come on. But yeah, it's great. I like it. Oh no, sorry, no, I take that back. Not great. Better than a bit
Better than
good.
a bit good. Yeah.
A bit good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Matty?
I'm going to give it a 2.5 because I can't rate it the same as Candyman. Because
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, good logic.
Yeah. Again, it's another fun movie to watch, and it's cool to see two big icons in the same thing. So yeah, I don't really want to repeat myself much, but yeah, I'd give it. If you've never watched it, I'd give it a watch anyway. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, you'll watch it again. But I'd definitely give it a go once at least.
Yeah.
Nice. Lunn?
All right, so I'm gonna give this a I'm going to give it a 2.5. It's not New Nightmare. It's definitely not Dream Warriors, and it's definitely not the OG. So, my God, I'm not rating anything like those. So, it's a hot mess, but it's enjoyable to watch.
It's a hot mess. Yeah,
Hot mess.
I like that. It's a good way of putting it together. My review is 1.5 out of 5. However, I like the soundtrack. I've just said some bits freak me out, and I do occasionally watch this. It's something Ryan always talks about, which is good bad movies. You
got to have some good bad movies.
You got to have a love for good bad movies. So I'm going to bump this up to a 2. But Kelly Rowland still gave Jason mouth to mouth, so
it's one of those
it's
films
got to
where
live below 2.5 for me.
Yeah, you know what to expect. It's got the gore in there. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got 2 big characters.
I don't think you know what to expect.
Freddy versus
Yeah,
Jason.
I know what you mean. It is, yeah,
Fighting.
We didn't get that. Who's the winner?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it is very all over the place with it. But you sort of know what you
I'll
sort
die
of
on this
kind of
hill.
going to get going in. But yeah, let's get on to the next thing anyway.
Okay.
What's the next one, Matt?
So
we're doing good for time, by the way, because I've got a timer on, and we're bang on halfway. Like we've done 45 minutes, 3 films.
We're on film 4 now. Yeah, look at this. Okay. This might be the quickest, but I think it's about to get lengthier here. Okay, film 4, Dead Silence, released in 2007. A young widower returns to his hometown to search for answers to his wife's murder, which may be linked to the ghost of a deceased ventriloquist. Well, gentlemen, what do we think of this one?
I've not got many notes for this film, but my main one is the first thing I put on it is this film is weird.
You are not wrong there.
I messaged you guys Sunday night. Watching Dead Silence, this is fucking pants. It didn't get better.
For me, like this is one I've watched this film a few times, and I do like coming back to it every so often to watch. But the story and that is nothing to shout about. Like considering it's James Wan, who's like
Lee Winnell.
He's done stuff like The Conjuring. Do you know what I mean? And Insidious, and Saw as well. Like
and Lee Winnell, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You think they'd be a bit more thought out.
So we should say to the listeners, we're introed with this couple, and a doll is delivered to their door randomly, and you think, well, fucking burn that. I'm not keeping it.
Basically, Slappy from Goosebumps.
Yeah. But this doll
is
called
a generic
Billy.
looking doll.
Yeah. And guy nips out, comes home to see his wife murdered all over his apartment with a trail of blood. And the death looks very fucking grim. He goes back to his hometown. No one's giving him real answers. And then it's like, oh, it's Murray Shaw. So there's this like ghost, I don't want to say ghost story, but this little song people would sing to scare one another in the town. And it's basically, you scream, Murray Shaw's going to get you. So that's the premise of it. And he confronts whatever this Murray Shaw character is.
Yeah. Well, so like, doesn't the doll turns up to his house as well, and his wife or girlfriend or someone's killed, and obviously it looks like it's he's to blame. Like it looks that way, but it's not. It's the doll, which straight away I thought was weird because then he was kind of let go quite quickly. Like I know they were like, oh, we didn't have evidence, but I'm like,
you have an apartment full of
you've
blood.
got an apartment with a dead woman in it, and he was the only real person there. I know us as the audience are like, oh, it's the doll, of course, but I'm like, why they wouldn't let him go? And they, of course, wouldn't let him go to then like fucking go across country to or wherever the fuck else he went to go somewhere else. Like you'd be like, if he's gonna go, it's like, right, you're gonna go, but we want to know where you fucking are and shit like that. Like it was just so unrealistic. I know it's a film and like not everything should be like super realistic. I mean, some of the things that we're talking about, you know, that we're praising but for this type of thing, when you go into like detective type shit, I'm like, I want that to at least be a bit more real.
It's a bit of a plot.
And the detective is played by Donnie Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg's brother, who was also in Saw.
I didn't know that.
The more you know.
I reckon I can see it actually.
Yeah, but there's a real fun bit. So I can't remember the name of the lead character. Oh, it's Jamie, isn't it?
Jamie.
Jamie goes back to his hometown and he takes Billy the doll with him. But then
why did he take the doll?
So here's what annoys. Well, he's looking for answers. Why is this doll turned up and then my wife's died?
Oh yeah. Okay.
But what annoys me is the next time we see the detective, he's like, "You've got evidence right there," and it's like, "Well, why the fuck did you leave evidence in his apartment for him to take?"
Well, yeah,
that's the whole
part
back
of
and
evidence.
forth
You'd
between
bag it
them.
up and put it
Straight
into.
away.
Yes, I'm not letting you put any more fingerprints or hide it. Or he tries to bury it in the where Mary Shaw's dolls were buried. And it's like, oh, you can't be burying evidence. Well, don't fucking give me evidence, dummy.
Literally.
Oh, that triggered me.
There's
Yeah,
so
literally.
many there's so many like lack of common sense approaches in this film.
Yes, there is. There's some plot holes in the story where you're like, that wouldn't happen.
Like,
that's probably what is it for some people. I do like the overall like aesthetic to the film, the whole look to it, and the creepy vibes.
I didn't like that. I thought the color gradient was like fucking terrible. It was like it just looked. You know what I was saying the other day? Or was I saying this on the podcast or privately?
Yeah, it was the early 2000s
like the color,
grading.
It was terrible. It looked shit.
Where everything looks like a really moody Evanescence music video.
Yeah,
this did give that sort of Evanescence vibes off. It did, but I don't know. I sort of liked it in this one, and the deaths were pretty cool with the mouse. Sort of like,
I agree with you there, Matty. I don't hate this film, is what I should say.
I'm pissing myself thinking of the ending. Like,
it's so ridiculous.
Oh God! So before we do that, I want to say like the use of silence. Is very clever. So it gets silent when Mary Shaw's around and watching you, and it kind of reminds you of Final Destination because you notice it like death is wind in Final Destination.
But it's not subtle.
Mary Shaw is silent,
not subtle.
But it's not gonna be because you know Mary Shaw's coming for you, and if you scream when you see Mary Shaw, she's gonna kill you. That's the rule, and that's the song they sing. But that's clever because musically, in my head, the way I'm thinking about it is the way these paranormal films play out, and this is the beginning of your paranormal hype when horror films were like getting like, oh, fucking Paranormal Activity, The Exorcism of this and all that. And that's where like I call it cheap horror, where we're banking on loud sounds to scare you, jump scares essentially. But having silence be like part of the story means your noise floor of what you know as being moderate volume is at nothing, so then you're maximizing the scare with the big you know. So I was like, that's real fucking clever. That's why it scares you. That's why I like the scares rather than calling it cheap horror, because you're at least embedding it in the story somehow.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. It's very James Wan though, this film as well, like going into the different, like, you know, it sort of feels like you're going into the different worlds, and especially the scene where they're underwater as well, and there's all puppets.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's very, very James Wan. And also, do you not think the old woman Mary
Shaw
looks very much like the old woman from Insidious with the veil over her face?
Very similar. Yeah, very similar. She only gets uncovered at the end of Insidious 1. And becomes like the main thing in Insidious 2, who's haunting the dad. Oh,
maybe that's film. Mary.
Maybe it is.
So I've got a question regarding this film and where it sits in the James Wan universe timeline, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know if you guys know this, was this film made pre-Saw or after Saw?
This is after Saw, definitely. It's like 2009,
purely
I think.
Because
2007 this came out.
Why is the two I won't call it franchise. Why is the two things made by James Wan that are both of a puppet called Billy?
Well, it's funny you say that, because my fun fact is you can see Billy from Jigsaw in this movie.
What?
He is in there at 1 hour 10 minutes. You can see him like sat down by a pillar.
Yeah, I've just Googled it.
Yeah.
No,
I will get you
I'm gonna
have that up.
Yeah, it's a tiny Easter egg, and he's on a chalk. Oh no, that's somewhere else. That's a different film. But yeah, no, he is. You're right.
Yeah,
Cool. I like that.
I think they just like the name Billy for a puppet.
Holy shit.
But yeah, there's a little fun fact.
It's very subtle, isn't it? It's very subtle.
I will say
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, you carry on because mine's like the end thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid that just for now. Before we do, we saw Jamie meets the mortician who's going to be burying his wife, and then we uncover more about the backstory of Mary Shaw. She was this talented ventriloquist, and we have this amazing, like, what do you call it? Like theater where she performed, and she had a weird request when she died, which was to be turned into a dummy, which the mortician did somehow. And why the fuck would you do that? Yeah, very fucking weird. She gets buried with the dolls. You can see this is an edgy film. I did like the character of the mortician and his wife, and his wife's kind of like talking to Billy the doll occasionally. And
imagine that. Imagine saying to you, like, your husband, "Yeah, I'm gonna be made into a puppet."
Mm-hmm.
You might as well get stuffed and mounted, aren't you?
There's like South Park where Carl's dad wants to be a dolphin.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So gross.
Fucking hell.
Oh, but you have like under the mortician's house, she's just sat there hiding from Mary Shaw. It kind of reminds me of The Visit. Have you ever seen The Visit, where the grandparents are playing hide and seek, and she's like
scuttling around?
Yeah. Oh, that's creepy.
That's so funny. Yeah. So that's all I had to really say. Do you want to talk about the ending, Ryan?
Oh, it's just fucking ridiculous. So what is it like? You find out that the twist is that like his dad throughout the movie, who was like, I can't remember what he's got. Got this new wife. Yeah. But every time they're together, they come as a pair, and then you find out that actually his dad's dead, and she's been using him as like a ventriloquist the entire time. So she's like carved out his back, put an axe in there, and she's like
feeding
fucking
him soup, and it's just splattering.
Oh,
on
it's gross.
Of him.
He would
she's
stink.
also a puppet.
Puppet.
He would fucking stink. And I was looking at that like, this is gross. He would stink. How the hell would you not know that your dad's dead when you're like 6 feet away from him talking to a fucking...
She's a talented ventriloquist,
the worst twist ever.
Hello.
I will
think
say
it's freaky. Like, I even though it is bad, I did enjoy it.
I agree with you there.
This was the bad that I don't like. I was like, this isn't good bad. I was like, why am I wasting my time?
But here's what's weird. Mary Shaw, hang on. Spoilers if you want to watch this movie after what I've
just spoiled it. Don't watch it.
No. Because skip 10 seconds or something. But Mary Shaw and her accomplice, because Mary Shaw is a paranormal being that's scaring people. We see that. This woman, the wife of Jamie's dad, isn't doing that as far as we know. So it's kind of like she's controlling, and Mary Shaw, they both win in the end. Jamie dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was quite nice to see a sad ending, and they left it like that because they were almost going to do a sequel. There's talks of a sequel to this day.
Oh God!
Oh, I'm glad they didn't.
I'll be first in line.
For
whatever else is showing at the cinema that night.
Fucking hell. Dead Silence fans really want Dead Silence 2. Yeah.
That'd be a good lads outing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go.
Ryan heckling the fucking movie from the back of us.
Shit.
Oh, why was Ryan kicked at the cinema? Well,
boo, Wendy Testerberger. Boo.
Boo, Wendy Testerberger.
Oh.
Yeah, straight in. Half a star. Hated it.
Damn. That's the lowest score we've had, I believe. Yeah.
Wait, have you not given something half a star, Pearson?
I've always at least give it one, I think.
What?
Didn't I give The Collector half a star? But
oh shit, you did.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
I'm gonna at some point take that back because I will watch it properly.
So the next episode 5, we're gonna do a recap on some stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I watch The Collector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through my notes now. I've not given anything half a star. Go on, who's continuing these amazing ratings?
I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5.
Yeah. Bollocks, wasn't it?
It's so. Do you want to annoy me the most? Because it just felt like it wasted my time when I was watching it. Was the transitions of where he drives past the road sign to go into the town. It zooms into the town and to the bridge that he's just driving across. So if essentially he could have stayed on the same shot of the car going across the bridge and it would have been fine. They wasted so much fucking time just doing this cool effect of going through this fucking
but
sign.
it's cool.
No. And also the thing as well with the where it shows the shot of his wife dead on the bed and it goes through the eye and then it goes through to something else and it's like, this is why.
What are these transitions kind of thing? Me or D?
I'm going to give it a 2.5, so it's on par with Freddy versus Jason. I particularly, it's a good bad movie for me. I enjoyed it. I like some of the kills in it and the way it looks. I think it's pretty freaky, to be honest.
Is it though? Is it on par with Freddy versus Jason?
No, it's better than Freddy versus Jason.
See, this shows how split we all are with different stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So, this is the fun of this show.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a 2.5 for me.
Fair.
I have the same rating. It's a 2.5 from me because I've watched it more than once and I've been like, yeah, but I've watched this more often than Freddy versus Jason.
However, think I have as well. I'll come back to it as well.
I'm not listening to the soundtrack of this film though. I'll be honest. So if you want to watch Dead Silence after what you've just heard, you can go watch that on Netflix at the time of this recording. Yes. Okay.
Next
moving
one.
on. Wow.
2 to go.
Yeah. The 5th film in our list is Cujo. Released in 1983. Cujo, a friendly Saint Bernard, contracts rabies and conducts a reign of terror on a small American town. As we've previously mentioned, Charles Bernstein doing the composition for this film. You'll know him from the Nightmare on Elm Street films. What do we all think?
So, I mentioned this at the start. Cujo as a book, I know we're discussing the film, but Cujo as a book is actually one of my favorite Stephen King books. It's like so full of suspense and tension.
Yeah.
I literally couldn't put it down. So I was quite excited for the film, but I didn't love it. Didn't hate it. I just thought, considering also that it was only made in 1983, like I didn't even know when it was made, but you just saying 1983 then, I was like, no fucking way. It's very dated.
It does look very old, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of just like the acting style, the way like all the performers are like dressed and things like that. I'd be quite keen for a remake for this one because I love the story.
Yeah, definitely.
But I couldn't get that into the film. Like the film just didn't do a lot for me. Maybe if I watched the film first before the book, I would have kind of had a bit more of the tension of like, oh, what's going to happen? But I guess because I knew what was coming, but I didn't quite enjoy how it was like executed. How it was visually. Yeah. I just kind of lost interest a bit. But yeah, it's such a cool premise. Like the whole story of Cujo. I remember hearing of this story years ago. I think it was when it was on Friends. And they're watching it, and I think my mum told me when I was a kid like what the story is, and like I said before, my mum hates horror, so like she made it sound like the most frightening film in the world. So I was like, oh god, never ever gonna watch Cujo. And then read the book, loved it. Yeah, I want a Cujo remake.
So it is a very intense film, like throughout, and there is a lot of tension, as you say, and especially because you've got a big chunk of the film where they were stuck in the car, aren't they, basically?
Yeah.
It's sorry, I'll let you talk.
No, go on, Pearson.
I was saying like it's not just a scary rabid dog, is it? It's playing on claustrophobia, being trapped in a car with sweltering heat, and you've got sunstroke. You're dealing with a child, let's be honest, and that's painful enough, let alone being trapped in a car and having a rabid dog outside that's killed 2-3 people at this point.
Yeah.
And she's also dealing with the personal issues because she's been fucking cheating on her husband.
Cheating on her husband?
And isn't the son ill as well? Like, doesn't he need medicine or something?
Yeah, isn't he like having a seizure at one
Or
point?
he's, I think it's because it's so hot, he's like getting
it's the
dehydrated.
dehydration.
Because, oh no, I won't spoil the book. The book ending's got a bit of a different ending to the film.
Like hearing you talk about the book makes me really want to.
Yeah,
That
it's
might
not
be
a
the
mega
next
long one
book,
either. I think it's
right?
only like 300 pages.
I struggle with
So-
novels, and I was talking about this before we started recording. Started reading The Shining. I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna get through that. Cujo will be the next one, I think.
Yeah, I've got it. I'll send you my copy if you haven't got one. So, nice.
But yeah, this film was kind of split in two for me. The first hour, I wasn't hooked or taking it in. I mean, let's be honest, it's hard to make a movie about a rabid dog and it be scary and last an hour 20, you know?
Yeah.
So they establish the American family, and then you've got the cheating wife, the husband finds out, husband goes away because an issue with the cereal campaign that we hear at the beginning. It's making people poop red, something like that. And they die in the cereal. Yeah. I have amazing fun facts for this. But this
so I don't have loads to say on the film. So if you've got fun facts,
so all this stems from a fucking rabbit bite as well. Like, oh dog, like, I feel fucking tight on that dog.
I know, I feel bad on the dog.
But no,
what's a shame is like they establish that within the opening scene immediately, don't they? So it's like, oh, at that point you're just waiting for it to unfold, and it makes that hour feel very slow for me anyway.
Yeah, because she goes in and she sees the bite on his nose, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Like a bit, he has a bit of red on him.
Yeah, and she's hesitant to let her son near it. You got red on you.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel tight on that, but he's got the brilliant Dee Wallace in there, who's the Scream Queen within her own right. She's been in all sorts of fucking horror movies. And she is, I think if she was in this film, and you know what I mean, I don't think it would have stood the test of time.
The film it is,
and been the film it is. But as you say, I don't think like the dog for me and the whole storyline isn't very scary for myself, and that's probably why I didn't enjoy it as much. Not saying it's a bad film, because some people enjoy it and it's got a cult following to it, but it's just not got that scare factor that I look for in a horror movie, especially for Halloween as well.
It's an ambitious, film to try and create. You set in one location.
Yeah.
The villain is a pet animal that, you know, everyone loves. You can't not love a dog, you know. Lunn, what did you think?
I'm a bit torn on this, where there are some parts of it that are executed really well, and I think I'm just more thinking like how everything wraps up closer to the end. But I think it's the whole family melodrama that you get before it that kind of really like threw me off it, and it was like the build up to it just really felt clashed and didn't work the way I wanted it to. I feel like there's other films that are non-horror related that probably did a better job of that feeling of isolation. So one that comes to mind is like, for example, 127 Hours.
Good film.
I feel that executes the whole being in one spot better than this did, but at the same time, Cujo was a while back in comparison to
I mean, I think it portrays the sunstroke and being trapped in a car very well.
Yeah, 100%.
It was an uncomfortable watch on that sense.
Yeah,
but I just
wouldn't call it frightening.
Yeah, it was. I
just felt bad on the dog. Like, if your
guys,
dogs look that bad.
At least Vic didn't die. Do you know what I mean? I was expecting him to come back like towards the end of the film and then get attacked by the fucking dog, but he survived. Do you know what? It's a good job. People were pooping like poop. I mean, that saved his life.
Saved by red poop.
Yeah.
But I definitely recommend reading the book if you're like into books. Like, I really, really rated this one. It builds the tension so much better, and I was proper excited to see the film. And like, I know it's that typical thing of like, oh, the book's better. I don't always agree with that, but in this case, I did. And I think
it's good.
I think loving the book as much as I did made me just not really give a shit about the film.
Yeah, I think it's good you read the book though first, because I know like when I'm reading, I like to visualize. I don't read much, by the way, but I like to visualize what I'm reading. Do you know what I mean? So if you've already got sort of a visual reference, to the dog and everything that's going on, I don't think you probably would have enjoyed the
Yeah, no, true. Because like I read The Shining, I did like it, but like every time they say Jack, you're thinking of Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that with quite other films. Like if I've read a book, knowing there's a film of it, I still can't help but picture the actors and stuff. But to me, that kind of helps because then I can remember who's who. Yeah. But you know, it is nice to kind of just fully invest your own creativity into it. But we're not talking about books, so
not yet. That might happen.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine a HorrorFest 31 books.
Oh fuck that! That would take me like years.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
That would take years. But yeah, jumping in with my rating for this one, then I'm going to give it a 2. But it's not. I don't want to like think like I hate it. It's still a cool concept. I do like the whole thing of it. It's just it is very dated for me. But if they were to remake it, I'd be hyped. I'd be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm keen for this.
I like the idea of what you just said of remake this.
I'm gonna go for a 2, and it's the same reasons, Ryan. I'm basically just fucking copying what he said because that's how I feel about it. It would suit a remake. It is dated, but it is a good film at the same time. Yeah. It's just not to my taste. So
yeah, makes sense. Lunn?
I'm gonna copy paste, and I'm gonna say 2. Based on the same reasons as I said before. I kind of went in expecting it to, I don't know, jump to the final act a lot quicker, but it didn't. It was just all this like melodrama, which kind of threw me off.
Which makes sense in the context of a film, but because you can't just have a third act as a film.
Oh no, absolutely not.
It is tricky to create an interesting story on the lead up when it's about a rabid dog.
A rabid dog.
Yeah. So before I give my rating, I'll give you my fun facts.
Yes.
Ooh. So if you feel bad about what you've just watched, seeing a rabid Saint Bernard, these are some that are going to cheer you up. The foam around the mouth for the rabid dogs, because there was 5 dogs used in the film, 5 Saint Bernards, 1 mechanical head, and 1 guy dressed up in a Saint Bernard costume, which imagine that being your job on set. Nice. Yeah, the foam mixture was egg whites and sugar mixed together to cause the foam, but the dogs couldn't stop licking it off one another. So that's a joyous thing to picture. In the film, you don't actually see any of the dogs get hit, which is nice. They use like clever camera work, which was nice to see. Because even if they did a remake, I don't want to see that. I don't think anyone wants to see that. There's enough of that horrible shit all over the internet.
Yeah.
So to get the Saint Bernard to jump into the car frightfully, they put the favorite toys in there.
We're chatting all this about dogs. I've literally got mine snoring.
I can hear it.
In the background then. I thought, yeah.
I've just got a text, so I've got to let him out in a minute because he's got to go downstairs to go to bed.
Bless him. And yeah, here's another fun one. They had to tie all the dogs' tails down because they were wagging too much during the film. So they were having a good time. And final fun facts, it's about Stephen King. He admits when writing this book, he was so deep in his alcohol addiction, he doesn't remember writing it at all.
Mad.
Which I think he's done for a few books, to be honest. But yeah, that and my rating, I also gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't think I'd watch it again. I'd happily see a remake, especially with like, I'm not saying do a CGI dog, but those trickier shots where you do have the ability of CGI to help on top of practical could make a really fun.
They could make it fucking gruesome.
Terrifying, man. Yeah. That might be a future podcast right there. Okay, before we jump on, Ryan, do you want to let Ollie out?
Yeah.
Sick. And the final film, the 6th film in this part 4. Did I get that right this time? Part 4. The Children, released in 2008. A relaxing Christmas vacation turns into a terrifying fright for survival as the children begin to turn on their parents.
Right, I'll confess I've not watched this one.
Yeah. This was a late edition.
This is very annoying.
What's that?
that these two haven't watched it because go on, Ryan, I'll let you say what you're going to say.
I was just saying, yeah, no, in all fairness, it was a late addition to the list because I think I watched it literally. We put the list together like in August, I think, and we literally recorded at the start of September to get started on this. And I watched it on looking at my letterbox, I watched it on the 24th of August and it made it into the list because I was just like, have we got any spaces? Can we slot this one in? Because I just watched it and I was like quite impressed.
That's how it started because I saw you shared it on Instagram and I replied, oh my God, I forgot about this film.
Yeah.
Should we make Lunn and Matty watch it?
Yeah.
That was the purpose for putting it in this list. And it didn't fucking work. They didn't watch it.
You need to watch this for the recap next week.
Yeah.
So just to talk about it, yeah, so you've mentioned the plot, like these families go away, take a vacation, and then things just start getting fucking weird. Like people are just dying in horrible ways, and like the kids are just fucking creepy. This is like a proper British horror, which I want to.
It's a bit of an independent movie, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's
I think it is. It reminded me of the style of Eden Lake, which I really liked in terms of it being fucking horrible, like a film that really got under my skin.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, mate. Next year's list for sure. British horror has just got this way of being so fucking. I don't know if it's because we are in Britain and like obviously they're always set in British. You know, it's a lot more close to home. It's just fucking horrible. Like it's just got this weird, horrible, uncomfortable edge to it. And so the first like kind of death in this, I think I'm correct here, is when like I'm not going to fully spoil it, but it's like when like the sled goes down the hill and knocks into the dude. It's so gruesome, like proper fucking 100%. Disgusting.
And I think, like there's some very clever camera work in this where it's like on the level of a child and you see him looking just before they turn on them, and it because there's this weird fine line, isn't there? You don't think they've turned, but some things are in play where you're like, oh, that's a bit sinister.
Yeah.
And then the events unfold and you're like, oh, fuck. And you're kind of like trying to work out throughout the film, why have they turned?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you this. Does it not give you, like, does it not show you how they got infected or what's happened?
No, it just all happens.
Like I think from watching it a parasite kind of thing, but then that can't be right because the parents don't turn, you know?
Yeah. It's just weird. It's like that mom and dad film Nicolas Cage is in where like the kids just suddenly start fucking, or is it the parents start? I can't remember what am I chatting about. It's late. I'll just quickly go because for this one I actually wrote a pretty lengthy kind of thing on my letterbox for. So I've mentioned about like the British horrors, but I've said like so perhaps like it's the accents and characteristics of British families that make it feel so close to home for me. Although I'm so glad we don't have any kids as annoying as these little shits. Fuck me. Even before they get terrorized and they're so annoying.
Yeah,
like they're like. Not quite Babadook kid level, but close. So I was like, my God. I remember messaging a friend. I've got a friend who claims she won't ever watch films if there's like annoying kids in it. And I was like, mate, don't ever watch this. You will hate it.
A film entirely based on that.
Yeah, literally. Well, it is. The children, the kids go fucking nuts and they're all fucking weird. But yeah, the gore in it. I put the gore, level of gore is enough to please those looking for some horrible stuff. So like Smith would love this one. And I really enjoyed the fast cuts that have you like, what the fuck did I just see? So like that moment with the sled, that's the only death I'm going to kind of talk about because that's the one that was most prominent in my memory. A lot of things happen where it goes so quick. I think I even rewound it because I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did you see who made this happen? And you kind of don't. And yeah, it leads to just some fucking horrific stuff. And the kids, although I found them annoying, they were pretty fucking terrific in terms of their acting abilities.
Oh yeah,
because they're all very young and they were genuinely fucking
scary.
freaky.
Yeah, it's
scary. Sorry,
scary. It's annoying enough that it doesn't make you want to turn it off, but
it's uncomfortable.
You hate them for you know? You're like,
it
these
really
fucking shits.
It was I love getting uncomfortable with films because like we were saying before, I feel we're a bit desensitized to some horror. If it makes me uncomfortable, I love it because I'm like, if it's getting me like feeling stuff, I'm like, it's doing what it wants to do, you know?
Yeah.
Not like to a horrible level. Like I don't want to watch like really uncomfortable scenes of like you know, like we said about with I Spit on Your Grave, I don't want to be watching rape scenes and shit like that.
Yeah.
But when it's like proper fictional, gory horror type creepiness of, you know, fucking kids going nuts and shit, I'm like,
That's
yeah,
it.
fucking
if it's
make me feel weird.
If it's made you feel weird about it, it's doing a good job.
Yeah.
There's the fun bit is you have this child innocence that plays throughout the movie of like, it's not me, Dad, you know, kind of thing. And that's the blurred line throughout it. And then there's the fucking greenhouse scene. Is like stand out for me. It's not a long film. We're talking 1 hour 24.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's quite an easy one to get in before we have a chat next week. But
it's definitely something I'd recommend watching.
It packs a punch. That's what I'll say.
Yeah,
I think it's good. If you like it, like I said, I'd recommend kind of pairing it up and watching Eden Lake.
Yeah,
just for British horror. Getting you like kind of maybe don't watch them back to back because you'd be in for a fucking horrible evening. But if you kind of watch it and think, I want to feel like that about something else, watch Eden Lake. Well, have any of you two seen Eden Lake? Sorry to kind of sidetrack to another film, but
yeah. Oh, Matty has.
I know Smith's a fan of that one as well.
Yeah.
So this was one of those where Jess, my partner, discovers like these random horror films where I'm like, all right, I'll give it a go. And 9 times out of 10, they're fucking like, what the fuck have I just watched? The last one she did it with was Hell House. And then she's like, oh, do you want to watch The Children? I was like, what the fuck is The Children? Yeah, it didn't disappoint.
It looks like you watched it in July last year by looking at your letterbox because I was just on the profile and could see.
This is why letterbox is so good.
I know.
I love it. It's like a diary for when you actually watch
something. Oh, mate, I put everything in there. I think I've forgotten a couple on these horror things, but I'll add them in at the end. But
yeah, I started... not adding my reviews, so none of you saw them, and I just thought, well, in the end, I should be adding them anyway. My fun fact for this is we see a tattoo on the character Casey near her belly button, which is like a baby in the fetal position with an umbilical cord going towards a belly button. That is the album cover for Sigur Ros's album released in 1999 that I'm not going to try and pronounce.
No way, I love Sigur Rós.
But yeah, the more you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
So I'll give you my rating. I gave this a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because it's not like one of those films that's hitting like, oh, you've got to watch this, guys.
Yeah,
it's just like, this is a fun horror. It'll kill an hour 30 for you. And considering like it's a bit undiscovered or, you know, not as well known, struggle to find it on streaming services. And I don't really hear much talk about it. It's pretty overlooked.
Yeah, to be honest, I literally think I picked it for the runtime. I was like looking for something to watch, and I was like, 84 minutes, fucking easy, mate. I gave it quite a high score. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Maybe I'm being a bit just like, you know, sometimes when you've got that excitement of finding something new, like maybe if I watch it again, I might top it down to 3.5. But fuck it for now. I'm going to stick to it and say I watched it and was like, that got me. I like that. Nice. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for The Children. I think, is that my highest rating this week?
It probably is.
Wait, there's no way you're giving The Children more than Freddy versus Jason the way you...
No, I did. Because I think it was a better film. Like Freddy versus Jason was more fun, but I preferred The Children.
But you've just said The Children made you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, whereas Freddy versus Jason was just fucking cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
So after you've heard what me and Ryan have just said about The Children, Matty and Lunn, are you wanting to watch it more?
No, not really. I'm joking.
Oh, what? I was about to say.
Yeah, I will watch it and I'll get it done before we do the wrap up episode.
I
might do like a little video reaction once I've watched it, and then we can chuck it onto the.
Hell yeah!
To the like after I've watched it, I've just started having a quick glance at the description on Letterboxd for it, and I love that one of the reviews for it is opens it with, "This is exactly what British children are like."
Yeah, it does put you off kids.
Yeah, I don't want kids.
Basically, if you go to Pontins, that's what you're gonna get.
Asda on a Sunday morning.
Oh, right.
Good week, boys.
That concludes HorrorFest Part 4. I will let you know the final 4 films now. So, on Part 5, we've got 4 films, and boy, are they good. The Mist, Lost Boys, Jaws, and Wishmaster.
So there's only one I've not seen there, but this is
guessing
this is gonna be a big one because those are some big titles we're gonna end on.
And then after that, I know it's only 4 films, but then we're gonna do a recap on HorrorFest overall, how we feel about it, and what you can expect after this.
Yes. Cool.
Well, thank you for taking the time, boys, and listeners and watchers. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch.
Yeah. Back
If
next
you agree
week
with
or
us,
in a few
if
days'
you
time.
Disagree with us? Let us know. Chuck it in the comments. Say we're shit.
Can I do one of these that
Whatever.
I've never really done? Because like
Yes.
normally with my
I'd love it.
podcast I do with you guys, I don't do video, but I don't actually know where the buttons are. Like and subscribe.
Perfect.
Never done it.
There we go. Right. Thank you, boys.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.